Hey everybody, it's Marcus, and I was on a soapbox for a minute there in our meeting, kind of sharing my perspective on what's going on as a former virtual school administrator. But there were only a couple of people in the room, and I thought that this might be something that could hopefully be serve as an encouragement to you if you're struggling with this, which pretty much everyone is. So, wanted to give you a little bit of the history of what I did at Suttons Bay Virtual. Suttons Bay Virtual was started in about 2009, 2010 with a handful of kids. Their enrollment was dropping. They needed to find more students, and so they looked at virtual as an option to get a higher number of kids enrolled in Suttons Bay. And they started with about, I think it was about 20 or 30 kids. This is before they hired me. They took volunteer teachers who wanted to do it. They said, yes, I would like to be a virtual teacher, and took kids who wanted to do it. And they did an experiment, and for the most part, it was a failure. You know, a lot of those kids ended up dropping out. They weren't successful. It didn't work. It was not what they wanted it to be. So in 2011, 2012, they expanded the program but made a lot of changes, constantly changing. Or try this, it failed. Try this, it failed. Try this, it failed. You know, how are we going to engage the kids? What curriculum do we use? How do we deliver instruction virtually? And the program grew because there was a lot of interest, but the success rate stayed very, very low. I think we had single-digit graduation rates. It was pretty bad in terms of the outcomes. They hired me in 2012 to help, and I was really proud of the work that we did. We made a lot of improvements. I think that my first year we were able to increase the number of credits being earned by high school kids by a factor of three, like three times as many credits were getting earned, which was great. But still, even to this day, I just pulled it up online, and Suttons Bay Virtual, which is one of the most successful virtual programs in the state, their top to bottom ranking in terms of achievement is the 28th percentile. So they're pretty much in the bottom quarter of all schools in Michigan in terms of how they're ranked based on student achievement. Um, it's a different perspective. Suttons Bay Virtual, the teachers had years of training to perfect their game of what we're trying to do overnight. Okay, those teachers were volunteers who wanted to be virtual teachers. I don't remember anyone asking you if you wanted to be a virtual teacher. You're having to do this. You going from sometimes someone who spent decades in a classroom perfecting their craft and then being flipped around into a virtual environment almost overnight with very little training. You know, we're training you and we're trying to support you as best we can, but I mean, it took Suttons Bay started with small numbers of kids, little bit at a time, growing over time. We're trying to flip an entire school district overnight. Um, from a logistical standpoint, that's just crazy. And not only that, at Suttons Bay Virtual, the kids had a choice. They didn't have to go to the virtual, they wanted to. Nobody asked our students if they want to be virtual students. The vast majority of them would much rather be in the classroom. They haven't been given a choice. And then you look at the fact that Suttons Bay Virtual, we didn't have to take them. We actually had an application process and a test that we gave them so that we could decide, are you suitable to be an online learner? And if we didn't think that the student was going to be successful, we would say, no, we're not going to take you. We're not doing any of those things. Our teachers have to go virtual whether they want to or not. We're doing the training the best that we can, but it's nowhere near what would be adequate. I mean, you think about it. You spent 4 years in college, sometimes five. Some of you got master's degrees, 6 years learning how to be a good teacher in a classroom. How much time have you spent learning to be a good virtual teacher? Not 6 years, I don't think. And so when I look at this, to see the successes that we're having, and this many teachers who are continuing to take their job so seriously, and I know that many of you are struggling with just emotionally with I'm feeling like a failure, like I can't do this, I can't keep it up. Um, but I will tell you that it does get easier. The first, I would say, 3 or 4 weeks of virtual is extremely difficult as kids make this transition. Sometimes, that could stretch out a month or two. We're getting them into new routines. Hopefully, we won't have to go that long. But I will tell you from experience that this does get easier as kids adjust to the platform, as parents adjust to the platform, the expectation. It is not always going to be like this. And please believe me, if you only hear one thing I'm saying in this video, I want you to know how proud I am to be working with you and what amazing things I am seeing. I can only offer my perspective, but I hope that this gives you some context when you're thinking about the magnitude of what we're being asked to do and the level that you're performing. A lot of you are feeling like you're performing way down here and you're just barely surviving. And it's certainly reasonable that you be feeling that way. But when I look at it, I see something much, much different. And it's something that is amazing. It is something that is very, very good. It is something that's going to get better. And personally and professionally, this is something I am extremely proud to be a part of. So, for what it's worth, that's what I'm seeing. And I hope that that can be an encouragement to you as we continue to do this together. If I can help you, if you want to talk about this, please give me a call. You've got my phone number. And it just so happens that yesterday, when I had finished some of my phone calls and things like that, I was just looking through Seesaw and different things to see what's going on. And I was grabbing some video clips, and I put together a little present that I wanted to share with you. So if you're into cheesy 80s music, today's your day.
Looking in your eyes, I see a paradise. This world that I found
who have sometimes spent decades. Oh, look. It's the COVID alert. That's dramatic. Yeah, right in the middle of my video, I get the COVID alert.